Okay, after you have created your commitment statements, the next step is to create planning norms. So whether you are co-teaching with just one person or multiple people, creating norms is essential for your planning practice. We sometimes in the education field get a little bit exhausted when we hear the word norms. But it's really crucial when you are working with another person to set some guidelines and expectations for your planning. We're going to model the conversation of several things that you'll find on this norms document and also share with you some ways to get creative if planning is not very easy for your specific context.
As Jackie alluded to, it's really easy to fly through this, go quickly, and not really take your time to think about it, but we really encourage you to take your time and think openly and honestly about, is this something that you can actually do? Because if you say now that you can, knowing full well you can't, you are not starting off with your co-teacher on the right foot. If you honestly say to them, I know that it would be great to meet this many times a week, but I think with the capacity that I have, with how many co-teachers I have, or how many pull-out classes, or just your caseload of EL kids, if that's not possible, don't tell them it is. When you both start with the same expectations about what you can expect in your planning stage, you're going to start off that much better. So the first one that we're going to talk about is preparedness. So what do we need to do before we meet? For me, I've had a few different co-teachers, EL teachers kind of filter in throughout the door and leave for various reasons. And some of them have come to planning meetings very prepared, like Jackie, and some haven't. It's been really frustrating for me as a content teacher when they come in and think they can just pick up the content on the fly. Now, 6th grade science is not difficult, especially when you are an educated professional, but it's probably been 10, 15, 20 years since you went through that stuff. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Doesn't matter how easy it is. So Jackie would do a great job by, I would make sure I'd have all of my scope and sequence, previous lessons, standards, objectives available to her through Google Docs or whatever platform you guys use. So I need to make sure as a content teacher, I'm sharing that with her. She needs to make sure as the interventionist, the EL teacher, that she's looking at that stuff prior to our meeting. And maybe she needs a refresher course on exactly what are we trying to get at with the difference between solids and liquids, but at least she knows it's the difference between solids and liquids. She's looked at our stuff ahead of time, and I've looked at from the content lens, what do I need to do besides sharing her on all of my documents? I need to make sure that I'm thinking about what is some really important language that students need besides vocabulary to access this content. And if we both come ready with those things on a consistent basis, we're going to start that planning meeting much more effectively.
The other part of the norms conversation that we wanted to model for you is time and location. Now, this could be really tricky for your specific context. When we co-taught together, like Erin just mentioned, we co-taught 6th grade science. We were lucky enough to have weekly planning sessions where we would meet in her room, or I was co-teaching with another science teacher at the time. We might meet in their room. Again, we would come prepared for that conversation, having looked over the lesson plans that are coming up, and we would have a same time and common prep time built into our day. That might not be the case for you. So for us, the time and location was very easy. Now I'm in a different role, and I co-teach with multiple teachers, multiple content areas, and some different grade levels. So I had to get creative with my location and my time. So the location might be a Google Doc. The location might be emailing. The location might be after school or before school, or maybe it's at a pull-out day or a PD day where you don't think it might be very applicable to what you're teaching now or your practice. You might want to talk to admin and say, could we meet instead of going to the PD, could we meet somewhere else? Time, again, this might need to be creative and different for each of you. Time for us was during the school day. When I co-teach with other teachers, it might be, like I just mentioned, before school, after school. It might be when I get home and put my kid to bed, and then I check this co-planning doc. So really encouraging you to be creative, even if you're not in the same place at the same time. Ideally, we need admin on board. Mm-hmm. So if you can get some time where you guys are face-to-face together, working out all of your communication goals, working on your teaching styles and responsibilities that we'll go through in the next few videos. It's crucial to have that admin support. But we understand that you need to be creative at the same time.
So Jackie's alluded to a few different ways you could do that with before school, after school. Maybe it's a video if you're across multiple buildings but have some common time. She's talked about asking to be excused from PD time so that it's already on your work day. We don't need a sub, but maybe you don't go to that PD with your co-teacher. You sit down. Maybe admin has release time for you, and so they get you both a sub, and then you have a full day to plan as much as you can. Potentially, if it's after contract time, maybe there's some writing time money, hourly salary kind of thing. Some, again, creative way to be an incentive to write.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So there are other things on this norm stack that you are going to go through and really get some concrete ideas down for your co-teaching care.